I'm fascinated by the concept of a band coming together
Mm.
and having it coalesce. And you've been in a number of bands, haven't you, over your career?
Yes, many.
And tell me about King Queen and tell me about what happened and how you knew that there was something here, because I've just gotten a chance to see your music video and we're going to have the link to it, of course.
Hmm.
And I want to know a little bit more about how that happened.
So the lead singer Sabrina, she's from Sweden. She came to US about 2010, I think, and she was signed with Universal Sweden. At that time she was just doing, the pop star thing. She was singing, somebody was writing her music, and she was dancing and doing all the things, right?
Sure.
So when she first came here, she was performing with a lot of drag queens. And, very famous ones now you'd see on like RuPaul's Drag Race and all these podcasts. So, but back in 2010, Drag Race wasn't what it is now. It wasn't
No.
glamorized. It wasn't popularly accepted and things like that, right? So now you look and you're like, wow, you knew that queen. Wow, you knew that queen. But back then it was, So anyway, she was sitting out one night hanging out with the drag queens after a performance, and one of them, very famous drag queen, her name's Detox. I guess they were having a conversation, and Sabrina was like, I don't know what to name the band. Like, I want to make a band for this music. I want it to be a rock band, but I don't like, I want it to be like Kings or like maybe like Queens or something. And then this drag queen named Detox said, KingQueen. And so literally that's where the name came from.
Right.
Um, so we've had our history with drag queens ever since even the inception of the band. So then you fast forward many years through like 2018, I got a chance to sub in with the band on bass guitar because their bassist had other gigs. So I got my first like dipping my toes in.
Sort of like sort of like Pete Best and Ringo Starr kind of happened, right?
Yes, yes. But then, it was just a couple gigs. And then I didn't really play with them again until it was, sort of the height of the pandemic. Sabrina called me and was just like, hey, I'm putting the band back together. We're going to start doing gigs again. Like stuff's opening up. What's your year looking like? And it's a joke because we're like, well, geez, that was such a loaded question, right? Um,
What's your year looking like? That's
and that's exciting too. So she had seen me playing piano on some Facebook live or something and didn't know I played piano. So instead of using backing tracks, she said maybe you could create those piano synth string textures that I use as a background. And so I joined the band in early 2021. We played a few outdoor gigs because at that time it was still a little sketchy. People had to wear masks inside, but you could play outside and with 6 feet apart, all that stuff. And from there it just really started to pile on itself because you know I think we started to collaborate as songwriters. And the song that we're going to listen to in a bit, this is just the most recent, but we've collaborated on a lot of different songs. We've had a few rotating members in and out, but what you'll see in the video here later, the snippets that we'll show, has the current lineup of the band, and it's taken a few years to really get it solid. But it's taken many shapes, but now it's a very dancey, synthy rock band that is immersed in queer LGBTQ plus community and drag queens. So that's as brief as I can talk about King Queen.
I am fascinated by the LGBTQ queer community and all the gifts that come out of this. I live in Texas, which is a very regressive, repressive in general society, and we so need. I feel like that we need our lights. We need the color. We need the passion that comes out of this community. How did you get connected with the community?
So I have been openly bisexual since 2010. And, you know, that's a whole story in itself of coming to that.
Absolutely.
So I've always identified with the culture. I started watching Drag Race when it first came out, RuPaul's Drag Race in 2009 or 2008, whenever it came out. And it was a nothing show. It was on this, you know, broadcast network called Logo TV. I don't even know if it exists anymore. Now it's on, you know, MTV. It's come so long, but you know, those days it was still like, it was more accepted than it was 50 years ago, but I don't know, was still seen as like this weird thing, like, oh, men dressing as women. And like, you know, you're watching that and, you know,
Exactly.
there's a lot of hate still. And I mean, it's 2024 and there's still a bit of hate.
Sure.
But you know, it's a lot more widely accepted than it was. So anyway, that being said, I've always gravitated towards people, you know, from that community. And, you know, luckily Sabrina and a couple other members in the band, you know, either themselves or have siblings who are in the community. So, you know, just about everybody in the band really has a strong tie, you know, to, you know, either themselves or their loved ones are in the community. So
Wonderful.
it feels really authentic to, you know, perform for them and be a part of it.
So tell me about this particular song, the new song that is coming out, the one that is hit, that has this a wonderful Manila Luzon
Yeah.
on it. And so let's play a clip of it. Let's see what we're talking about here.
Awesome.
The way she talks, the way she don't care. The way she moves her hips, the way the wind's in her hair. The way she does it for herself, yeah, she got that flair. The way that boys and girls can help themselves but to stare. You know you wanna, you know you wanna. That's why she's hot. That's why she's hot. That's why she's hot. The way she flows, the way she knows you, she's in the zone. The way she doesn't need you like a queen on the throne. The way she drives you crazy, used to blow up her phone. The way you know you never have her body alone.
Dang, he looks different.
You know you wanna, you know you wanna. That's why she's hot. That's why she's hot. That's why she's hot.
That is just wonderful. You
Thank
know, Brandon, the I'm so glad we showed the whole thing because it's a story song. It's a
Yes.
story song of her empowering the young woman who is not in who this is my interpretation. So you help me to know how it aligns with what you see and not.
Yeah.
It's her opportunity to be able to connect and to be able to come out of her shell and to be able to be who she authentically is. And so that Manila is able to take her and take her into society as a whole, which looks at her askance, which isn't sure what she does. And Manila blows and Manila scatters this beautiful dust and just says, hey, we are all in this together. And then it allows her to come out and to truly to express who she is. So that's what I got out of it. And I just thought it was a beautiful story.
Yeah, that's a wonderful interpretation. Yeah. There's many themes, and I think, that's why she's hot. I think we all have our internal dialogue of like how we're feeling inside. And sometimes we can snap ourselves out of it, but sometimes we need that person who is our bestie, our friend, whatever. In this case, Vanilla Luzon is, coming in and snapping her out, be like, yo, girl, you're hot. Like, let's go. We're going out. And so I think empowering each other is the next way to go. I think we've had enough years of tearing each other down and like, I'm going to get to the front. And I think we're done with that. I think we're moving into a time where we need to start coming together as a community specifically, but all people. And we start,
All people.
lifting each other up. And
Yeah.
I think that's where
I
we're
mean,
headed.
it works it works for me in the concept of zero sum. If there is only so much pie, then I need to push you out of the way in order to be able to make sure that I'm guarding my peace. But if it is actually synchronicity that 1 + 1 is greater than 2, then the pie is going to continue to expand. I can get the most for me by bringing out the best in you.
Yes, correct. And I think more people are waking up to the idea that everything is a mirror. If you continue to, interact with people who are happy and who are loving and empowering, that's who you are on the inside as well. And I think more people
Oh
are
God.
learning that. So I think it's a wonderful. This is more metaphysical, of course, than maybe
Yep.
just like the normal understanding of the video. But yeah, for sure.
Well, I mean, I like to talk on that level because we were talking about the depths as looked at some of your videos in which you talk about when you talk about in your practice as a hypnotherapist and then your practice as a life coach. You're getting down to that unconscious level. You're able to reach that. When I think about projections, I don't anything that I'm holding against you, I first am holding it against myself.
Yes.
So I can always look there. The world is a perfect mirror for me in that way. That those things that I am upset about have always. I have not yet had one time that there isn't something inside of me, some disquietude that I need to deal with, or I wouldn't be so upset or triggered by something on the outside.
Correct, 100%. And I think we're now moving into that slowly as a consciousness. We're all starting to like notice, hey, this thing or this theme keeps occurring in my life. What is it?
What
Who's
is it? Why does it keep coming back? Why do I keep meeting the same person over and over again?
Yes. Okay. Maybe I'll wake up and say, all right, it's time to learn the lesson. Like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what, and I feel it's time for me to learn my lesson. I have shown up here as vulnerable and as open and as teachable as I can possibly be. This is my goal. My goal is to be able to be that. And so as that's what I'm working through. So as you're looking at this, as you're looking at your career, both as your career in your hypnotherapy and life coaching, and also in your, how do you envision that? How are you working through some of the blockages that you have had in your own career?
That's a fantastic question. One thing that I've really become aware of, because there's levels of this, right? There's like unconscious competence where you don't know what you don't know. It's just it's under there, you don't even know. And then there's things that you become aware of that you don't know how to solve. That's okay. That's a good place to be. And then you become aware, conscious incompetence. You're like, well, I know that I don't know this. That's a good place to be. So I've stepped into that more, where I'm realizing, okay, this is what I want. So step one was really just getting clear, what do I want? Because most people don't actually think about that. They think about what they don't want, and that's fine, but then flip it, right? People will say, oh God, I'm so sick of this debt. I just can't get out of this debt. The bills are piling up. I'm going to have to okay, stop. Just take a breath. Do the opposite. Say it how you want it is like my magic phrase. Say it how you want it. How do you want it? Okay, I want to live in abundance. I want to have more than enough money that I can live the life that I want. I can go on vacation as much as I want. I can spend time with my family. I can be creative. I have the time. Say it how you want it, right? So that's the first real principle. Like, I had to get real clear, like, what am I saying unconsciously, right? I can say out loud, yeah, I want to tour the world. I want to play. But then underneath, I discovered about myself, I'm actually afraid in an unconscious way of the responsibility of being in the limelight. And I would have never known that had I not done the inner work. And I'm still going through that. But once you're in the limelight, now there's responsibility of like, okay, some people are going to hate you. Some people are going to completely disagree with you, and they're not going to see. Like, for example, this video, it's about drag queens and the queer culture. We've already gotten hate comments on it, which is a good thing in the sense that, like, okay, it's getting attention, but there's still so many people out there that are like, this is not it. This is gross. This is abomination. We can go down the religious conversation if you want to, but personally, nobody was put here. Nobody came to this planet to be in lack, to be in fear. So anyway, we can talk about that separately.
And certainly at a time, if we'll look at it, we have never had the kind of abundance that we have now, or the kinds of opportunities that we really turned something here in the human species.
Yeah.
Plus, we've created a new species, AI, that is going to impact us all here on the planet. But this is our opportunity. This is our chance to really heal and to come together in a way that we've never come together. The 60s were a precursor to be able to bringing this forward, and as it accelerates, I feel like that now, and certainly I think we can see with the backlash, with the work that's coming out of the right wing and the work, it's showing us that there's something positive happen, because there would not be that kind if there weren't this wonderful positive force that was going forward. And I'm not Pollyanna, because I know there's going to be challenges and there's going to be opportunities, but it gives me great hope.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think we do get caught up in the illusion of the negative news, the wars, the racism. Of course, that stuff exists.
It's clicked. That's the system it's built on. It's built on how does our I just realized I interrupted you. Continue talking. I'll tell you more about mine. No, seriously, please continue.
That's okay. I was just going to say, of course, those things exist. And the way the media makes it feel like, oh, it's impending doom, like the world's going to end, I get it. And that's, just pro tip, I unsubscribe to all news. I know what's going on. People tell me, I have my own opinions about it, but I don't need to be bombarded with it, right? I'm not giving into that illusion. On the other hand, what's also happening is more people than ever are waking up to the idea that we are all one as a consciousness. We all are connected. We are all of a higher spiritual being, regardless of religion. So yes, there are things happening in this 3D world that are not good, we would see as
Sure.
very negative and hateful. But at the same time, think about what conversation we're having right now. I mean, 400 years ago, we'd be burned at the stake. We'd be called
Totally.
witches. We're talking about anything metaphysical. So then you fast forward to now, this is like, you scroll Instagram, every other person's talking about chakras or healing or, some other spiritual metaphysical practice that is now becoming common. It's becoming the common vernacular, right? So it shows me that it's becoming more the idea of reincarnation, for example. That's something that more people are like, oh, okay, yeah, I can get on board with that. Again, look at where we're at. That's a very positive thing. That's my perspective. So I was just really agreeing with, what you were saying.
It is. And, I would like to, because I saw you talk about projection,
Yeah.
and how we project, how that what I see in my reality is an accurate depiction of what my interior reality is. So that if I see conflict and angry people and all the where, if that's my reality here, I can actually see that there is a lot of conflict going on within me. So I can actually use that as a feedback device to let me know that there's something that is crying for attention within me.
Yes. 100%. I can give so many examples, but I'll give a personal one just because.
Please, this is all about personal, because I want to know you.
Yeah. One thing that I struggled with and do on occasion still is just my appearance, my weight. And I'm very happy in my body. Now, this meat suit that I was assigned, I'm happy with, right?
Yep.
But, there are times that I've gotten caught up in the illusion of, okay, I'm a little bit heavier than I'd like to be. Oh, I'm fat. Oh, I'm not as strong. And then here's the thing. That's all internal talk. That's what's happening without me knowing. But as a result, I found myself being judgmental of others, like, oh, wow, I don't know if she should wear that. Or, oh, wow, he's really put on a lot of weight. Now, here's the thing. It actually doesn't matter at all what I think about these people. They're living their own life, their own experience, and yet they're happy. But what I'm doing is I'm projecting how I feel about myself onto other people. And once you understand this, you understand a very big principle. And I'm going to share a little hypnosis principle with you, is that the unconscious mind is always listening. It's always listening. And that when you talk about other people, it thinks it's talking about itself. So if I say, oh, Dennis, he's so, and obviously you're not, but if I said, oh, Dennis, he's so overweight, he's so this, that, and the other, my unconscious mind thinks I'm talking about myself. It doesn't understand that there's anybody else in this world other than me. Because the unconscious mind's prime directive is to keep me alive. It's to keep me breathing and surviving. That's its number one principle, right? That's why it's not programmed for abundance and success, because, oh, that's scary. That could bring danger. This is something that is a little bit more advanced on the other levels. But when you understand, it's always listening and it's taking in what you tell it and nothing else, and it's trying to keep you alive, then you know how to manipulate that so that it works in your favor. Because again, I could want $1 billion, but $1 billion also brings a lot of enemies, a lot of danger. My unconscious mind doesn't want that. So, it's interesting, but that's just a personal example about,
So it's a wonderful one. And I think about this in the way I use it in my life is I use it as the power of preference. So, because in my metaphor, the way that I work is that feeling precedes form. So that so what I say to myself is, how would I prefer to feel if this thing were true?
Yes.
So I think about that in that way. So I try on the feeling, like a suit. I say, if this were true, because that way I don't have to argue with my
Yes.
rational mind. Because my rational mind, if I say I'm abundant, yeah, well, look at your wallet, check out the checkbook, you know. And I don't want to argue with that rational mind, but if I say to it, how would I prefer to feel if this were true? Well, now
Yes.
it doesn't have an argument. Okay, well, I'm going to try it on. I'm an actor. All right. And that feeling will open my mind. In some ways, I think it's more magical than that. But let's just look at it at a
Mhm.
practical level. I suddenly will open my eyes to an opportunity that is right in front of me that I would be blind to had I not allowed myself to have that feeling.
Yes. 100%. And what you're speaking of is a state. A state is
Tell
is
me
a
more about it.
is a
I would like to have the uh, academic background of what this is.
yeah, it's like it's interesting. You'll say, like, a parent will say, "Oh, all I want is for my child to be happy." Well, here, let me just pause for a second. Happiness is a state. It's not a permanent thing. We all every day have to work towards the happy state. And it's not going to happen every day. It's not going to happen every second. That's life. We chose this life because we want the challenge. We won't go there. But it's a state, right? So it's a temporary feeling. I love that I'm going to try this feeling on. I'm going to try on the feeling of abundance. Well, that's great because the unconscious mind and the universe as a whole responds to the emotion of it. Me just sitting there and thinking about this big house, that's not moving any energy. But if I'm feeling it, if I'm seeing myself sitting in my grand foyer with this beautiful white grand piano and I'm playing and the windows are open and I've got this pool in the background and I'm feeling like even now I've got goosebumps, like I see myself there,
Hmm.
right? That's what actually moves the manifestation. People talk about, how do I manifest money? How do I manifest things? Well, first of all, you got to figure out what you want. Number two, you got to try on the feeling. I love that. Like, get in that moment and feel it. What would it feel like? Don't try to figure out how it's going to happen, because that's not your job. Our job isn't to figure out how it's going to happen. That's the universe. We just have to feel it and place our order. Oh, this is what I want. I want this. And it's already there. You're feeling like it's already there, because the unconscious mind actually can't decipher what's real and what's vividly imagined. So if you can vividly imagine and feel yourself at this wonderful house with and I want a white grand piano. That's just a personal thing. But if I see there and I'm sitting there playing the piano and I've got the windows open, that's going to happen. It's already
Yes.
done.
Yeah. And this is where. So what's in your windshield? What do you see, both for KingQueen and the work that you're doing? And tell me a little bit about what you see and how you are preparing for this opportunity.
I've already begun to start living the life of my dreams a long time ago. I decided
Oh, absolutely. It's not a, believe me, I know I am meeting you well along this path.
what's funny is, okay, whether I'm playing on a giant stage, and I've played on some big stages in front of tens of thousands, or if I'm playing this small bar and there's 10 people in the audience, I don't care. I have the same feeling either way. I'm I'm creating, I'm expressing, and the people there are receiving their oxytocin. My oxytocin's being released from this live music, this interaction, and it's an experience. You just have to be there, right? That's why AI will never replace live music. I don't care what you say, there's no replacement. But I've already begun to live that. I'm in a small bar in downtown Hollywood performing, and I'm feeling like I'm at the freaking Staples Center. I don't care. I'm already in that feeling state because I love what I'm doing. And guess what? Because I continue to practice that, this last weekend I was up at Sacramento, and we were playing Sacramento Pride. The stage was huge. There was thousands of people in front of us. I had the exact same feeling.